Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about buy now, pay later on a seafood boil is crazy. Woman warns against using Klarna for Doordash order, then reveals why it's a bad idea. So not too long ago, Doordash partnered with Klarna to actually have orders fulfilled for the customer, and they have a buy now, pay later feature where you could pay in increments as opposed to paying as the full value of the order there. And with all of the customers complaining about the price, it may seem like an okay idea on the surface, but in reality, what? This woman in particular is calling out how crazy of a concept this already is, and who can blame her? So with that said, we are talking about everything that's being said in this article, how it actually is for DoorDash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers and customers, and everything in between. But before I do that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our partners at GigTax. Tax season is about wrapping up, and if you are one of those people that wait till the last minute to get your taxes in order, you gotta make sure that you're doing it right, even though you're kind of rushing it. And that is where having a qualified tax professional at GigTax is here to help, because they're not here to just save you time, they're here to save you money as well. GigTax was built by someone who gets it. Joseph Mayo is a gig worker with over 7,000 deliveries across 7 platforms since 2020, and they know exactly what you need to get your taxes done right and fast at just a low rate of $99. So enjoy exclusive perks like electronic state filing, secure portal access, and year-round tax support from a dedicated tax pro. File in less than 24 hours or your money back. The point of this is to save you time and money, and we're here to save you on both. I had a lot of backed up taxes and complications. Joseph worked tirelessly to file previous year's taxes and maximize my return beyond what I could have done on my own. Book your strategy session now with gigtaxservice.com/drivenwyld and use the code WYLD to access your special offering. Simplify and save on taxes today with GigTax. And now, on to the video. DoorDash and Klarna are combining forces to offer DoorDash customers the option to buy now and pay later. In a TikTok with over 340.1 thousand views, My at Thewekly sheds light on the recent announcement on the partnership between Klarna and DoorDash and warns people to be careful. The things you do for content, huh? I'm going to leave your TikTok as well as her profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. This past week, both Klarna and DoorDash announced a new partnership where DoorDash customers will now be able to use buy now, pay later loans for orders over $35. This new partnership gives DoorDash customers more ways to buy groceries, retail, and fast food meals. This is actually a story that I covered not too long ago. I will leave that video in the description as well. Feel free to check that out.
Do not use Klarna for DoorDash, because when you get rejected from your dream apartment because you defaulted on a loan for $20 for a 4-piece blackened chicken tender meal with an orange high C with no ice from Popeyes, no one's going to feel sorry for you.
My told the Daily Dot we should not play into these big companies acting like they care about our well-being by giving us the option to finance food. We need to save our money and start cooking at home during times like these, instead of creating debt from overpriced food orders. We have to make better choices financially and health-wise. Now, here's the thing that I feel Klarna does that I don't like about DoorDash as a whole with their full marketing campaign. DoorDash gets paid for the orders delivered in general. And customers who are like this are normally cheap. There are times when they scam the system. And really, this is a luxury service. People who can't afford to have their food delivered shouldn't be ordering. That's just reality. That also said, if you're providing tools and resources for people who cannot afford those things to afford those things, it's only going to make things worse. This is exactly why I didn't like SNAP benefits being part of DoorDash's payment systems. But that's the direction they're going in. And not to mention, we do have a little confirmation from this in the comments. Klarna isn't going to allow you to finance a tip. It's just not going to happen. They will pay for the order, but they won't allow you to use the tip on that subject. So get over that, I guess. So drivers are just going to be screwed in the meantime. Now, this does bring up valid concern considering people can now use short-term payment plans for DoorDash orders. According to a 2024 Federal Reserve study, 47% of Americans carry credit card debt. If Americans are already struggling to manage credit card debt, this could be bad news. And even more than that are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, this isn't totally news, and the economy is doing something. I know that there's a lot of discourse right now with Trump's tariff plans and all of that. I'm not going to touch that subject, so I'm going to let that interpretation onto the table and just kind of leave it there. But still, can't expect the government to bail you out realistically. You gotta prepare yourself. Why buy now, pay later might not be such a good idea. Buy now, pay later financing options are on the rise. With companies like Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay became popular recently by offering short-term loans to allow customers to make 4 interest-free payments every 2 weeks. This pay-in-4 option made big purchases like travel and concerts more obtainable. Okay, travel and concerts, that might make sense, honestly speaking, because they're naturally high-ticket items that you don't really tip for, and the business model kind of makes sense, especially if it's something like Taylor Swift or something to that effect, where the ticket prices are naturally higher. In this case, it's food delivery. Like, why? Also, I know a lot of people have poor opinions on Klarna. I love how this article sold it the way it did. Like, what a neutral position this article is taking. I like that. I wish it would take that same approach for all gig economy things, but whatever. In addition to pay in for billing, you can also buy now and pay later. This allows customer to defer payments to a more convenient time that aligns with their paycheck schedule according to DoorDash. However, what started out as an innocent interest-free payment plan can turn into a downfall of debt if not paid off on time. True, but I'd like to remind you guys that this is exactly how credit cards became a thing too. Like, instead of it being a credit card specifically, it's Klarna. Like, the whole point of it is that, oh, you could earn all of these rewards for spending money on things you would buy anyway. But there's an interest that will start to build up month over month if you choose not to pay it off immediately. That's kind of the same business plan, except it's the concept of late fees, you know? Using buy now, pay later is essentially a short-term loan. Using a service like Klarna, it's basically using a credit card to make a purchase. Just like credit cards, Klarna can collect interest on missed payments. And not to mention, that's going to kill your credit score. A missed payment on your credit score is going to ruin you for the next 7 years or so. A Klarna spokesperson told the Daily Dot, this partnership gives DoorDash customers an easier way to pay up front. With Klarna, pay in full and spread the cost of larger purchases with Klarna's interest-free installment-based credit options. Especially important as DoorDash expands its offering into electronics, big box retail, and gifts. There it is. I was trying to figure out why this would be such a thing for Klarna. Like, do they just want more people to use their payment processing systems? No, there's actual like value in what they're trying to do. This actually makes sense to me. A DoorDash spokesperson told the Daily Dot, DoorDash customers already have plenty of ways to pay. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App Pay, Snap, EBT gift cards, and debit cards or credit cards, with 25% of customers now shopping beyond restaurants in categories like retail, beauty, and home improvement. Whether it's the gaming console or laptop for your kids, the new barbecue ahead of summer grilling season, or running shoes you need for tomorrow's 5K, this partnership provides even more flexibility, control, and options. Okay, this is starting to make a lot more sense to me. People see DoorDash as a company for food delivery, but in reality, they're getting into all sorts of last mile logistics. Now, the problem with that is that they don't pay their drivers very well, and that's the major concern here. Also, for all the people out there that are like, DoorDash is going to fall because people can't afford food delivery anymore, this is another example of how a company like DoorDash will see food delivery, but then expand into so many other delivery service options. Like, really think about that for a second. Can you miss Klarna DoorDash payments? DoorDash will now offer 3 ways to make payments at checkout. These payment options include pay in full, pay in 4, or buy now, pay later, offered by Klarna. Klarna heavily messages no fees if you pay on time. Now what happens if you miss your Klarna payments? First, interest is going to be applied. According to Klarna's website, a 28.99% APR is applied to any missed payments. For example, a $1,000 purchase would cost $181.04 per month over 6 months at 28.99% APR. The average credit card interest rate is 22.02%, according to NerdWallet. That's some high risk, high reward shit with them. Like, you are basically telling them that, hey, we'll let you do this, but if you fuck around with us, it's gonna cost you big time. But if you don't fuck with us and you pay on time, it's gonna cost you absolutely nothing. It's just interest-free payments. Now, the problem with that is because you're doing that to DoorDash, it's going to accumulate much faster. Now, missing credit payment not only creates more interest in payments, it also affects your credit score. Every time you miss a payment, a few points will be deducted from your credit score. NerdWallet reports that paying 30 days or more past due could drop your score as much as 100 points. Considering the potential long-term damage of missing payments for chicken tenders, it might be wise to skip on using Klarna for DoorDash. Like, you see, that's what I'm talking about. Imagine not being able to buy a house because you missed a payment to pay for your burrito. What did viewers think about this? I use Klarna for things like airline tickets, concerts, big purchases. DoorDash? Oh no, one shared. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that is like the difference here. Again, it would make sense if you're doing it for those bigger electronic items, but not for things like, oh, I want to get my burrito in payments of 4. You want your burrito paid as soon as possible. Let's say you get something delivered on DoorDash and it's a larger item, something like, I don't know, like a TV or something, or some sort of bigger item. I don't know if I would use DoorDash for that. I feel like I would use something else, but still. Also, if DoorDash is going to do that, why don't they have like a DoorDash large plan or something, like something for Dashers to specifically only take larger orders? Like, why is that not a thing? Even if it was, though, DoorDash shouldn't be the one to pull that crap. I'm just saying. Why is your 4-piece chicken tender on a payment plan? One commented. If you don't have $20 to spend on DoorDash, don't spend it on DoorDash. Why are you paying $3 a month on something you ate 5 weeks ago? One added. People really gonna walk around with 17 unpaid Wingstop loans? One joked. Popeyes greater than dream apartment? One trolled. DoorDash driver here, don't finance a goddamn pizza or McDonald's. I think it's safe to assume that there is no driver that is in support of this, especially since you can't tip with a Klarna payment. You know what I mean? This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Look, I think it was wise to partner with Klarna if the direction you are going in, the specific direction you're going in, is less about food delivery and more about larger item delivery. That makes sense to me. Actually speaking, delivering a television and ordering it through DoorDash and then having that payment made over 4 different periods, that makes sense to me. But a burrito ain't it, man. Like, I'm glad that this article revealed something that I think should have been revealed much sooner, in my opinion. Like, before it was just, oh, we are partnering with DoorDash to help people buy food delivery. No, this is their expansion into big box retail and electronics and gifts and bigger, higher ticket items. That makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for DoorDash to do that because tipping doesn't typically happen on those platforms under the guise of this. But still, all in all, I would say if you can't afford to use DoorDash, don't use DoorDash. I don't know if I would buy big box retail things from DoorDash either, but don't use something you can't afford anyway. It's a luxury service. Be smart with your finances. And once again, if you have challenges with your taxes or any other aspect of your finances, book a strategy session with GigTax at gigtaxservice.com/drivenwyld and use code WYLD in all lowercase to book your strategy session for that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.
Don't need the stress, don't need the strife. We simplify.